Good morning, Integrated 3 class. This lesson comes with, just a little bit of nostalgic sadness as I realize that the purpose of this lesson was to prepare you for your first work sample. The good news is that requirement now to complete work samples has been waived not just for 2020 but for 2021. The bad news, though, is of course I don't get to see all of you and help you through this. Instead, I will be recording this as a helpful video just in general. These are concepts that you've been doing since middle school, and as you set off to be done with my math class and or graduate, it's just good to have a little review. So right off the bat, this is the first time I've told you so far for this, but pause this video and go get something to write with and write down. That could be a piece of paper, that could be a notebook, that could be an old envelope that you find around, around your house, or a sticky note. It doesn't have to be too large. Sometimes people do just use a little shred of paper they get from the bottom of a receipt or something. You're basically just going to want to write numbers in order from least to greatest for this lesson. So pause this video, go get that, and then come back when you're ready, and you can hit play. The beauty of video. All right, I'm going to, as you're doing that, or as you've already got that, congrats on getting that, give you a little review here on the topics of mean. Now, you don't have to write this down. That's not why you got your paper, but just follow along. Median, you can write it down if you want to, though. And mode. So what's important about this is that it only matters if we write our numbers in order. So the first thing you always have to do on these problems is you write them in order from least to greatest. So I just wrote a few random numbers in order. So the mean is the average, otherwise known as what happens when you add them all up and then divide by how many you have, the number of numbers. So in this case, I would add up 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 7 plus 8 plus 19, and then I divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, it's important that you know that you have to do this in two steps. If you don't use parentheses and you just hit 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 7 plus 8 plus 19 divided by 6, PEMDAS is going to divide before it adds. Never do that. Add them all up, hit enter, then hit divided by 6, or use parentheses around all of them. And I'll show you what I mean when we start doing these problems. Median, just like when you drive down the road, is what's in the middle of the road when we write them in least to greatest. So I'm going to show you this. So I'm going to rewrite these numbers here. Easiest way to do this as you copy your own numbers down on your paper is to, and you can even start as I'm teaching this by opening up your number one and starting to write these in order from least to greatest. You're going to cross out your ends. A student taught me this a few years ago. It's brilliant. Cross off your new ends. If you cross off all of them and you just have one number in the middle, that's your median. But if you have two numbers like this, you basically have to figure out what number is in the middle of those numbers. So what number is in the middle of 3 and 7? Well, you can either see it in your head, as I'm doing, but I'm trying not to say it out loud, or you can just do what's 3 plus 7, that's 10, divided by 2. Yes, 5. So in this case, my median would be 5. And the mode is which one appears the most often. The most often or the most times. Appears most often. Again, I apologize for my terrible handwriting. It's always terrible, but now when I'm writing on this digital screen with my low quality stylus, it is especially bad. So appears most often. This is an example where I look at my numbers and none of them appear more than once. So this would actually be the case where I have no mode. But most of the time, say you have 18, 19, 19, I stick another 19 at the end. Then 19 would be my mode because it appears twice more than anything else. A popular misconception, though, is that, say I had 1, 1, 19, 19, 19, ooh, that went away, 19, 19, 19, so 3, and then I added another 8. Some people would say that 1, 8, and 19 are all modes because they appear more than once. No, it's just 19. Because 19 appears 3 times where the others appear 1 or 2 times. So it's just the one that appears the most, not any of them that appear more than once. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. It's a little 5-minute mini lesson before we get going here. Now we can exit and get back to our assignment. Because these are multiple steps, I have given you fewer problems. In this case, only 4. So no worries if that was too long of an explanation. We just have 4 problems today, but each of these has little mini questions. So it's like doing our regular double-digit problems. All right, mean, median, mode. I am going to rewrite these in order. So I'm hopefully not going to make a mistake here. I've got 18, and then I've got 23. You can be writing yours right along with me as you follow along. Then 26, then 29, 31, and 32. All right, immediately I'm going to see if I did this right by counting these numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to make sure I've written down 7 numbers because it's very easy to make a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, great. Now I'm going to do that thing I showed you in the mini lesson. I'm going to cross off the ends, and the ends, and the ends, and woo! Because I have an odd number of numbers, in this case 7, my median is 1 number. I don't have to do any extra work. It's just right in the middle, 26. My mode, which one appears more than once? I only have 1 number that appears more than any others. 23. There are 2 of them. So I'm just going to remember now. Oh, look at these Christmas colors. I'm going to remember that my median is 26, my mode's 23, because I'm going to have to cancel out of this. 26. I'm going to have to cancel out of the writing to use my decimals calculator to find the mean or the average. So just like I said, I'm going to use this in one step. I'm going to say, what's 29 plus 18? Notice I don't even have to write these in order. Like multiplication, addition is what's called commutative, meaning you can add them up in any order. Will always give you the correct answer. All right, so you get 182 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 26. You could also do it in 2 separate steps. Totally up to you. 26. Let's try this out though, just to see what Desmos does. If I add these up again, yep, here we go. You will see, just like I said, if you don't use parentheses, you are going to get it wrong. Now you could though, here's an idea. If you started off by hitting the division sign, and then just manually on top added your numbers together, and then on bottom you could put the 7, then that would be easier. You wouldn't actually need the parentheses there. I think that's what I'll do moving forward. All right, figure it out on the fly. You hit check when you're done. Again, we only have 4 problems. So even though it took us over 8.5 minutes to get through number 1, that's fine. We've been reviewing a lot of concepts, learned a lot. All right. You know, when I have this up, I'm just going to go ahead and do the mean first on this one. So I've got 83 plus 77 plus 86 plus 94. And on this one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 problems. Or 8 numbers, so 87. That's my mean. All right, my mode, let's do that next. That one's easiest. Any of them appear more than once? Yeah, 77. Okay. I made it to where you don't actually have any that have multiple modes or no modes right now. You're welcome for making it a little simpler for you. Okay, now let's write them out. Let's figure out which one's in the middle. So we've got 77, 77, 80, 83, 94. Uh-oh, running out of room. Let's write these last 2 really small. 90. Oh, actually, I could just the beauty of having digital writing. I'm just going to write over there. Looks awkward, but it works out. All right. Crossing out the ends and the ends. Now I know there's 8 numbers here, so I'm going to have to do the thing 83 and 86. So you could, over here, add up 83 plus 86. You can do that little slash thing on top, divided by 2. And I will show you that. So again, I'm just going to hit this division sign. You could use the right button right next to your right shift key, or you can just hit that division sign. And I've got 83 plus 86 divided by 2. 84 and a half. Don't worry if you have a decimal for this, but it should only be 0.5. You shouldn't get any crazy decimal after that. Just one digit. All right, halfway done. The beauty of only 4 problems. Okay, find the mean, median, mode for the data set. If there is no mode, write no mode. Again, we'll have a mode. Write your answer for the nearest, round it to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Okay, I'll do a little division and decimal review for you after this. But let's start by finding the mode. Which one appears the most? I've got 4 6.5s, which is more than anything else. So again, it's not 6.5 and 9.5 because those appear more than once. It's just 6.5 because it appears the most times. Median. Notice, even though this problem has decimals and is a little annoying, they already give you the numbers written in order. So I don't even have to rewrite them all. I can just focus on the middle of what's already written. Okay, 7.5. All right, and finally the mean. Okay, so let's do that thing where I use the slash. Now check this out. 6.5, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to say times 4. Save myself some typing. Plus, I've got a 7 plus a 7.5 plus an 8 plus 9.5 times 3, because I have 3 of them, plus 10, divided, and this is going to give me a decimal I'm going to have to round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I believe you all have 11 problems. All right, let's go back to our rhyming decimal rounding technique. All right. As I have taught, look at this, 90909 forever and ever and ever. So the hundredth is the second spot. The first is the tenths. The second's the hundredths. I want to figure out, is this going to be 7.90 or is this going to be 7.91? Those are my only 2 options. I can ignore everything past the first digit after this wall that I've built. Now the rhyme again. If this number is 5 or above, then we give it a shove. If it's 4 or below, then I leave that number alone. Nah. Well, 5 or above includes 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to give this a shove. So this is 7.91 as my mean. All right. 7.91. All right. And now the final part here. Which number best describes the shoe sizes? This is something that is the same for everyone. So even though we have different numbers, let's look at this. Our options are 7.5, 6.5, and 7.91. And we've got all of these numbers for tennis shoes sold. Well, first of all, this mean here of 7.91 is not very helpful. If I go into a shoe store and I'm like, ooh, give me your finest 7.91s, they're going to say, oh, what? Yeah, we don't have those. We have 0.5 sizes, half sizes, and we have whole sizes, like I wear a 15, for instance. I've always had such a large foot. But we don't have 7.91, so it's definitely not the mean. So it's between the median and the mode. Well, the most helpful size for if I go into a store is probably the one I have the most of, because that's probably my shoe size. So that's the mode. So if you've guessed that, or you knew that correctly, congratulations. It's the mode because it indicates the size most frequently sold and is an actual size, unlike 7.91. As I said, go into a shoe store, say you want their finest 7.91. It's not going to work out very much. And of course, right now you can't even go into a shoe store during this era. And if you watch this years later, just know that all these videos are recorded at a time when we had to stay home, couldn't go to school. It's going to hopefully seem so weird and impossible then because we figured all this out. But that's where life is right now. Number 4 is the final one. These are not written in order, so I'm going to have to rewrite them. let's start with the mean though again. And I'm going to clear all these because they're getting a little cluttered. I know sometimes students like to clear their whole calculator before typing anything out. All right, I got a 330 and a 630 and a 590 and a 540. You're welcome by only giving you 4 problems. Some years I gave much more than this, but I had a special sympathy for you. I think I'll just leave this like this going forward. 320, 630. Hopefully I got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. Oh, let's make sure on top I did all 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Makes me a little nervous to get a decimal, but again, it's just a 0.5, so I'm assuming that's fine. We'll find out if I made a mistake or not when I check it. The mode next. Let's see, I only have 1 330. I have 2 630s. Yep. Everything else is just ones. And the median price. Alright, this is where I'm going to have to write them in order. Alright, I've got 320, 330, 440, 540, 590, 630, 630, and then this humongous, ridiculous $2,900 for a TV. How do you high school students out there? You can get a car for that easily. Pretty good car too. Don't spend $2,900 on a television, please. All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, right in between 540 and 590. Let's figure that out. Again, you could pause if you needed, for some reason, needed to see that. 540 plus 590. Again, I'm hitting the slash first to get this easy. 565. All right, so for the final question of this assignment, which number best describes this data set? Well, we don't have shoe sizes now. We have TVs. And once again, let's talk about this $2,900 terrible investment that you can buy a car for. Or these videos could all unofficially be sponsored by my favorite place to eat, Wendy's. Wendy's, I'm hungry for you right now. Now, how many 4 for 4s can you get for $2,900? You could eat for several years. It's insane. So never spend that much money on a TV. So we want to know, because we're not interested in this $2,900 TV, and it throws off the price of all the others. It's what's known as an outlier. So we want to know which one of these numbers is unaffected by that. Because this mean right now, it looks like the average TV price is about $800. Notice none of these TVs are $800. None of them are even really close to $800. 630 is the closest, but there's none in the 700s, there's none in the 800s, there's none in the 900s. And so this 795 is actually a terrible example of what to use for our go-to number for this. Median is 565, okay, and the mode is 630. Well, in general, when you have an outlier that's way at the end, either way larger or way smaller, what's best to go with is the median, because it's unaffected by the outlier, and you know that it will be because that outlier is going to be either way larger or way smaller than the rest. Whereas, I don't know, maybe you would have had 2 $2,900s and 50 that were different. Even though the median was unaffected, in that case the mode wouldn't have been, because you would have had 2 of the really large ones. So always in that case, and in general, go with the median when you have a huge or a really small number that are outlying the rest of them, because it's unaffected. All right. Speaking of 4 for 4 at Wendy's, these 4 for 4 problems are now done. There it is. That's the longest that you've probably ever taken for 4 problems from me, but it included that 5-minute mini lesson, which is why this is almost 20 minutes long. As always, I hope this video finds you healthy and happy and safe and well. Miss you all, and I look forward to seeing you again at some point in the future. And if you've already graduated or you're going to graduate, I hope you come back and visit, because I will miss saying goodbye to you as well. Take care. Best wishes on your day. As always, this has been Class Away from Class. Take care. Be safe.